Behind Nyi's innocent smile is a childhood filled with pain and deprivation that few people could have imagined. A small, orphaned girl, struggling to survive amidst the hardships of life. However, when Nyi's story was revealed, it not only brought tears to many people but also touched the hearts of CEO James and Ms. Diep. They made a surprising decision to become a support, to protect and bring NHIA new life, full of love. That afternoon, James, Diep and NHI sat together. The little girl was laughing and joking happily, holding a glass of cold sugarcane juice in her hand, her clear eyes shining with innocence that had rarely appeared in the past few days. James and Diep looked at each other, feeling warm inside when they saw NHI living her true age. Even if only for a moment. Suddenly, a commune official walked in, his eyes serious but a bit hesitant. He approached the table of the three people and said softly, "I have something related to Nyi's family that I want to discuss." Immediately, the smile on Nyi's lips disappeared. She shakily put down the glass of water, her eyes showing worry. James gently squeezed Nyi's hand, while Diep gently rubbed her back to comfort her. The official slowly said, "Her parents are actually still alive. But because of their heavy debts, they fled abroad a long time ago. Until now, there is still no exact news." The words were like a thunderbolt. Nyi's eyes widened, tears welling up, her heart filled with both hope and despair. James and Diep were silent, not expecting the truth to be so bitter. The officer sighed and continued, "As for the paternal and maternal grandparents, we have come to them. But they firmly refused to accept the child, because they thought the child would only be an additional burden to their already difficult lives." Hearing this, Nyi's small shoulders trembled slightly. She pursed her lips, tears falling down onto the table. The room fell silent, only heavy sighs remained. James placed his warm hand on Nyi's shoulder, his eyes firmly fixed on the officer. "If the family does not accept, then we will be her family, no matter how difficult it is. Diep and I will take care of and raise NHI to be a good person." Diep nodded, hugging NHI into his arms. The little girl burst into tears, but they were not just tears of pain, but also tears of happiness at knowing that she finally had a place to call home. After hearing James's clear words, the commune official nodded slightly, his eyes seemingly relieved. He looked at NHI, then slowly said, "The child is very lucky to have the protection of both of you. We will make a confirmation file, so that the care and legal protection of the child can proceed smoothly. No matter what, a child still needs a family." With that, he left, leaving the three people behind, each of them filled with indescribable emotions. James turned to look at NHI, gently wiping away the tears that were still on his cheeks. He said in a firm but gentle voice, "Don't be afraid anymore. From now on, you won't be alone. Mom and Dad will always be by your side." NHI looked up, her eyes sparkling, choking up as she called out the words, "Dad." Mom, for the first time in her life. Those two words made James and Diep's hearts tremble. Their happiness seemed to explode. They knew that from this moment on, their responsibility and love for the little girl would never stop. In the following days, James and Diep began to bring NHI to live with them. The house, which was once quiet, was now filled with children's laughter. Diep kindly taught NHI every little lesson, from how to fold clothes, cook simple meals, to lessons on being a good person. James took advantage of every free moment to play with her, telling NHI stories about dreams and determination. Although her past was full of trauma, the love from James and Diep gradually soothed those scars. Every day, NHI felt happier and warmer. One evening, when the three of them sat around the dinner table, NHI whispered, "I don't need anything anymore. I just want my parents to be by my side forever." James and Diep looked at each other, then smiled. They understood that the decision that day, to adopt NHI, was the best choice of their lives. And from now on, in that small house, there will always be enough love, hope, and a real family. The next day, James had just returned from work when suddenly two strangers appeared at the gate. They were a thin man and a tired-looking woman. their eyes filled with worry. They introduced themselves as Nyi's biological parents. James was stunned. Diep was also stunned. As for Nhi, upon hearing that voice, she stopped. She hesitantly looked at them, her heart both agitated and filled with fear. The man hurriedly explained, "We didn't mean to abandon her, but because of the debt. We had to run away. Now, after so many years of being away from home, we've returned to bring her back to our family." Those words made the atmosphere tense. Diep hugged Nhi tightly, feeling her small body trembling. Nhi whispered in a choked voice, I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to be with Dad James and Mom Diep." James took a deep breath, his eyes firmly fixed on the couple. "I understand. Everyone makes mistakes. But do you know how miserable the child has been all these years? You left her alone, without a single word, so today, what right do you have to take her away?" The woman burst into tears, and the man lowered his head, unable to speak. Nhi now squeezed James's hand tightly, her eyes red but shining with determination. "I only have one family, and that is here." In that moment, Diep choked up and hugged Nhi, while James firmly protected her like a real father. Although that meeting was full of surprises and turmoil, Nhi had chosen where her heart belonged. After that unexpected encounter, Nyi's biological parents did not give up easily. A few days later, they went to the local authorities, asking to regain custody of their child. The matter quickly became a tense dispute. James and Diep, although surprised and worried, both understood clearly they could not let Nhi fall into the spiral of instability again. So, they decided to hire a lawyer and file for legal guardianship for Nhi. The day of the meeting at the committee, the atmosphere was as tense as a string. Nyi's biological parents explained that they were forced to leave because of difficult circumstances. And now they had returned with the desire to start over. But facing them, James calmly stood up, his voice warm but determined. For a long time, the child was abandoned, without any care, without any questions. It was my wife and I who took her out of poverty, gave her a warm home. I do not deny blood ties. But being a parent is not just about blood ties, but also about responsibility, about love. Nhi deserves to live in stability and true love. Those words made the whole hall silent. Nhi sat in the corner of the room, her eyes filled with tears, trembling slightly as she said, "I want to live with Dad James and Mom Diep. There, I will have a real family." Those innocent but decisive words were like a knife piercing deep into the hearts of her biological parents. The woman burst into tears, while the man lowered his head, not daring to look into his child's eyes. Finally, the government issued a temporary ruling, giving custody of Nhi to James and Diep, and opening proceedings to consider granting legal guardianship. Hopefully, the journey of Nhi, James and Diep will touch everyone's hearts, so that each of us can appreciate our family more, and open our arms to the less fortunate out there.